Do you ever fantasize about putting together your favorite team from the past and going up against some of the best players in my team and asserting your dominance? I do. Do you have unfinished business to settle because maybe your team didn't make it all the way when somebody else's did? I do. Did you ever root against Jordan because he was the greatest out there and you just wanted to see somebody stop him? I did. Do you miss the sound of a crowded arena of 25,000 fans all cheering for your team because you came up with a big play that will be a highlight that lasts forever? I do. Do you want to earn respect from your opponents, not just for the way you play the game, but for the team you put together? I want that respect, and I want some payback. I'm coming for you, Jordan, and I've got my team back together. Welcome, the 94-95 New York Knicks, and this is my team. I am taking them up against the best players in this mode. I'll be going through the seeds, starting out in the ninth, going all the way to the first, I hope, and I'm going to take you along with the journey. I've opened up packs, and I finally got the full team together, minus one player, and I'll discuss that later, but I've put together a my team that is going up against the best that we have to offer out there. And I have the 94-95 New York Knicks. So as we get ready to tip off this match, keep in mind this team is very unique. They've got a lot of strengths, but also some weaknesses, which is something I'm not used to playing with in my team mode, because in my team you can put together pretty much any glory team you want with a combination of players from anywhere, any team, any time period, and I'm going to go and totally change that. I'm putting together a team from one specific era, and I want to see how they fare because I'm interested and I want to know how good were these Knicks, and I'm going to take you through on the journey. So let's take a look at the roster. Alright, we've got Patrick Ewing and John Starks. Everybody knows who they are, and you see them a lot in my team. Charles Oakley, you won't see too much. He's a great rebounder, and I've been lucky enough to get all of these players out of packs, save Anthony Bonner, who I've replaced with Doc Rivers to round out my 11th. And Doc Rivers actually was a reserve on this squad. Alright, now we can finally meet my team. It took me a while to assemble them and collect all these players, but here they are. Starting at the point guard, Derek Harper, very good all-around player. John Starks is going to be my shooting guard. Anthony Mason at the small forward. Then I have Charles Oakley, the enforcer, at power forward, and then Patrick Ewing at center. Got Greg Anthony as my sixth man and backup point guard. Doug Christie, backup shooting guard. Monty Williams, backup small forward. Charles Smith, my backup power forward. Herb Williams, backup center. And then I got a couple extra players. Hubert Davis, coming in for three-point situations, and Doc Rivers, defender off the bench. I'm going to go with the sort of striped pattern there around the edges of the classic home and away uniforms. I got Tom Thibodeau as my coach. I'm going to use him for two reasons. He looks a little bit like Pat Riley, and I'm also quite familiar with his normal settings, and I think that they suit my play style pretty well. I'll explain more on that in my first video. Alright, so let's talk about Derek Harper. As you can see, I've got a couple of signature skills on him. I've got Dimer and Lockdown Defender. Lockdown Defender because he's going to be the man at the point. He's going to need to defend a lot against all the cheesiness that I'm going to see coming in a later season, all the three-point shooting. And I got Dimer because I want him to give that bonus to guys with the assist. So let's take a look at his ratings. He's got a 82 shot from the three-point. He's got a couple hot spots out there which help out. And 79 speed, so kind of just adequate. The one thing that I'm kind of disappointed in him is his stamina just isn't that high. It's in the 80s. So I'm used to playing with guys that have really high stamina, and unfortunately this guy gets burned out pretty quickly. 80 on-ball defense. So that's not spectacular, but it's adequate, and it kind of goes along with what I'm used to playing with. Now John Starks, I'm quite familiar with him. I'm going to have the standard heat retention microwave to get him on fire quickly with the spot-up shooter combination. That was what I used when I played with him in my regular My Team videos, and I had a lot of experience with him. I didn't really rely on him as a fixture in my lineup. I needed some quick points coming off the bench, and that's what he provided me with. And that's why the signature skills sort of complement that strategy. So I'm going to consider going a different route with his signature skills. But the good thing about him, John Starks, he's 6'3", so not Two undersized there. He's got pretty good shot all around the court, and of course that 94 three-point shot that we all know and love. Good layup and dunk. He can dunk it pretty well with 77 pass, which is actually fairly decent for a shooting guard. As far as his defensive numbers, they're actually pretty decent. 86 speed, 87 stamina. He's going to be on the court because he's one of my most important players and probably my best scorer that I'm going to have out there. 88 shoot-off dribble, 77 shoot in traffic with some good quickness and hustle, and an on-ball defense of 85. That ties for the lead on my team, and you'll see the other guy who that is tied with in just a second. So pretty good there. As you can see, the tendencies, just going down the list there, 99 three-point tendency. I don't know what that tendency really offers you, but you know, obviously the guy likes to shoot the three there. And he's also got some move abilities with the dribble. So I'm going to be using John Starks a lot. And while I don't typically like the three-point shooting strategy, I'm going to see if I can get some other shots with him, try and use him inside the arc more and get some shots off, kind of like use Iverson, Mitch Richmond, or maybe even Jordan. So look to John Starks to play an extremely important role. Anthony Mason, this is the final guy that I needed to get to complete this team. As you can see, I've got the finisher signature skill on him. I'm not really sure what to make of him. I've very rarely played with him until I started this mode. As you can see, he's got an 85 shot inside, and his hot zone is pretty much only the area under the hoop. He's got some low post offense and defense, and it's kind of different for a small forward. He is 6'7", but he's going to be going up against the likes of LeBron and Durant, Larry Bird. So I'm going to have to rely on this guy a lot to help me out. As you can see, 95 strength, so that's kind of a surprise for him as well. But he's got some good hustle in hands, and the on-ball defense is 77, so it's not terrible. But just keep in mind the guy he's going to be going up against, and that's why I have the active hand signature skill, so we can rip that ball away from guys attempting moves. Charles Oakley, the enforcer, one of my favorite players from the NBA. Growing up, he was just a guy on the court that knew how to get stuff done. He's not a tremendous scorer, but he does a lot of other things well. Plays pretty good defense and knows how to rebound. So he's got an 83 shot inside, but that doesn't really do him justice. I have a really hard time scoring with him, even on layups. He has to be pretty much wide open with no resistance going into the hoop. He doesn't have any post moves, so I'm going to have a difficult time scoring with him. But as you can see, 99 offensive and defensive rebound coupled with his 6'9" height. That's pretty much all I'm going to be using him for. And his stamina is terrible, so he's going to be coming out of the game pretty frequently, and I'm going to have to use the backup to help him out there. Pretty good hustle. I don't know what that necessarily does, but overall a good player, but not a great player. And at the power forward position, I'm going to be experiencing some problems going up against the better matchups that you're going to see there, like Sean Kemp. I can't imagine trying to stop him. I will have to out-rebound him, but that's just going to dictate to the overall strategy that I play with. And then finally, Patrick Ewing, 7 foot, 240 pounds, and he's got a great shot from pretty much inside the arc. His hot zones are everything except the top of the key inside, which is kind of nice. And he does a lot of other things really well. He's got good low post offense and defense, tremendous rebounder. His size, I think, is what really helps him out on the court. He just kind of gets people out of his way. But one thing I have great difficulty with him is dunking, and he has a very low dunk rate and just not the best at throwing it down. And that's a departure from what I'm used to. I'm used to slamming it down with the likes of Shaq, even Bill Russell, Moses Malone. This guy is a lot more of a finesse player, and it takes time to to learn how to use him. He's got a good touch and putback tendency, which I'm going to rely a lot on. And then a couple of other things you'll see. He loves to go to the post and do the post fadeaway. That's pretty much all of his attribute tendencies are talking about how he's going to go take that fadeaway shot, and that's something I need to practice because that relies on shot stick timing, unlike some of the other moves that I do, like the hook move where there is no real shot stick timing. And getting to know how to use Patrick Ewing is going to take some time. He's my floor general. I got lockdown defender because a lot of guys can be running into the paint with him. And I also have scrapper, which may be overkill, but I need my rebounds. Looking at Greg Anthony, the commentator there, good three-point shooter there, 87 rating. Very high steal, so I'm going to bring him into the game strictly for defense. The speed is much better than the starter. I've got the shoot-off dribble, 87. I'm going to be relying on that. On-ball defense of 80, so he's a tremendous backup for me. Doug Christie, I'm going to use this guy a lot. He's got good defense and good all-around shooting with a high shoot-off dribble. 93 steal, 86 speed, 6'6 size, and 80 shoot-off dribble. So his on-ball defense is 85, which ties him with John Starks for the best. They play the same position, but because he's taller, I'm probably going to bring him at the small forward because this is the actual small forward backup, Monty Williams, 6'8 guy. Not a lot of shooting ability, not tremendous. He can rebound the ball, so hopefully he can get me some boards. Stamina shouldn't be too much of a factor for me because I don't really want him on the court too much. The on-ball defense is 70, just not that good with not a lot of talent. And I put finisher on him in the crazy chance he gets the ball. I want him to actually put it in the hole. Charles Smith, he's actually a fairly decent guy. I've got a racer because of his jumping ability there and shot creator. As you can see, he's actually got some decent shot ratings from inside around the basket area. So I want to use that shot creator to help him out there. Not tremendous low post offensive and defense, but he is 6'10", 230, which kind of helps. Rebounding is terrible, quite frankly, for a guy that's going to be my backup power forward. The shoot in traffic is 75, which I kind of like. Shoot off dribble in the 60s, not terrible, but not that good. So he's going to be getting a lot of minutes because Charles Oakley is a guy that gets winded pretty quickly. Herb Williams, if I had Anthony Bonner, I'd put him in place of Herb Williams. It's the only guy I don't have from the team, but you can see he doesn't really do much of anything well, except I've noticed that when he gets to the line, he shoots free throws pretty well. Hubert Davis, this guy is found quite frequently in my team. He's got that 95, which I believe is the highest of any player you can get, 3-point shooting rating. He also has a very good shoot-off dribble, so I'm 89. I'm going to be using him, running around, trying to get shots with him. Other than that, he's got a 6'5" frame, but he doesn't really do that much for me. Looking at Doc Rivers, this guy is going to be playing some pretty good minutes for me. He's got a 97 steal. He's pretty much a defense-only kind of guy. High 80s speed with quickness and all-ball defense to match. So look for him for defensive situations, and I tend to use him pretty frequently. So to sum it all up, this is my team. You can see I've got some pretty tremendous players, but also a lot of scrubs. And some of those scrubs, I'm going to be relying on them for a heavy amount of minutes, specifically Charles Smith and Anthony Bonner. That's small forward and power forward positions I'm kind of weak at. But I look forward to playing with this team. The Knicks were a team I enjoyed watching growing up, and it's going to be a challenge, but it's also going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for watching.